Japan Makes Me Scared, a podcast to the chilling realm of Japanese horror stories. My name is Junpei, and I will invite you to the mysterious world of Kaidan, exploring spine-tingling experiences that have haunted Japan. Konbanwa minasan. Welcome back to another episode of Japan Makes Me Scared. I'm Junpei, your host, and I'm gonna share various horror, scary stories of Kaidan in this podcast. Question of the day: how much do you like rainy days? Or for some extreme sun lovers, how much do you hate rainy days? I personally don't care that much about weather, but my wife, for example, she's in a bad mood when it's raining, so it's dangerous if I don't keep my distance from her. Or in the case of our crazy kids, it's totally the opposite. They are like overexcited with rain, and they would try to go out with an umbrella and raincoat, even when it's a thunderstorm or something. But think about it again. Now we can joke about rain like this, but not long ago, rain was also a life-threatening event. When there was no rainfall, people suffered from drought and food shortages. And when there was too much rain on the other hand, people got harmed by floods and other water damage. As for me, living in Japan, I talk about it as a thing of the past, but I'm sure there are still areas in the world suffering from rain. When people suffer from rainy days, what would they do? Before everything else, I guess many people would pray for a sunny day tomorrow. Today's story is about Japanese custom to pray for good weather, and there seems to be some dark mysteries behind it. Alright, let's move on to the storytelling part. Episode 32, Teru Teru Bozu. First of all, let me briefly explain what Teru Teru Bozu is. Teru Teru Bozu is a Japanese handmade doll, typically made of white tissue paper or cloth, and hung beside windows. When it comes to the meaning of a name, Teru can be translated as shine, and Bozu means monk in Japanese. As the name suggests, these dolls are believed to have power to bring good weather, and are often used by children who wish for sunny days, especially before important events like school trips or festivals. All you need to create a Teru Teru Bozu doll is just white tissue paper, a string, and some kind of marker pen. First, place a small paper ball in the center of a tissue paper, then wrap the ball and tie it off with a string, forming the head and the body. You can write the face on the part of the head, which is usually a happy one like smiling face. At the end, hang the doll by the string beside a window from which we can see the sun. It is quite easy, isn't it? I remember making one when I was a kid, and I believe kids nowadays still enjoy making Teru Teru Bozu in schools or at home. But when it comes to the origin of Teru Teru Bozu, it seems that it is not just an innocent work of children. According to some research, The custom of Teru Teru Bozu in Japan is said to date back to the Edo period, which is around the 17th to 19th century, but there is a theory that it came from China many centuries before that. In China, there is a legend of a girl called Sao Qinyang. There was a village that was plagued by floods caused by continuous rain. The girl living in the village, Sao Qinyang, prayed to the dragon god, the god of rain, to stop the rain. Then a voice rang out from the sky, saying if she became the dragon god's consort, he would stop the rain. The girl agreed to this, and the rain stopped, and the sky cleared up. After that, she was never seen again. But since then, dolls made from cut paper have been hung at the gate of the house, in memory of Sao Qinyang when the rains continue. As the two customs have some similarities, like the same purpose of praying for a clear sky, it's been said that Sao Qinyang legend may have been the origin of the custom of Teru Teru Bozu. There is also another legend that the origin of Teru Teru Bozu is associated with a Japanese monk. During the Heian period, which is the 8th to 12th centuries, there was a monk who promised villagers he could stop the rain that was causing their crops to fail. The monk made a vow to bring clear weather, but when he couldn't manage to do so at the end, the villagers were furious. They punished the monk by executing him, and after his death, they hung his body in public as a warning. The theory said that Teru Teru Bozu dolls symbolize this monk, with the head representing his suffering head, and the white tissue representing his robe. And you remember what I said earlier? Bozu means monk in Japanese. Considering that as a connection, I would say the theory could be a pretty strong theory of origin as well. There is another theory that Teru Teru Bozu came from sacrificing children. Actually, there is no official source for this theory. This is based on a story from Kota Nakayama, who is a comedian, but also popular as a kaidan teller in Japan. According to what he heard at a bar in Okinawa, this is how the story goes. A long time ago, a village was suffering from famine because of non-stop rain. The conclusion reached to sort out was to offer a sacrifice. Then, the chosen victim for the sacrifice was a child from that village. The method was to cover the child's head with a white cloth so that his face could not be seen, and hang him by a rope. The white cloth would be painted with a smiling face, as they wished for as painless death of a child as possible. Again, this theory is maybe not what has actually happened in the past. However, there is a history of kuchiberashi in Japan, in which children and elderly were sacrificed from the village to secure the food that other villagers needed. When I heard this story, it didn't feel to me like this theory could be completely denied just as fiction as well. Anyway, these are the theories of the origin of Teru Teru Bozu, but in fact, there is another dark mystery behind it. That is, something associated with a children's song. The song featuring Teru Teru Bozu was published in 1921 by Rokuro Asahara, and is said to have made Teru Teru Bozu popular all over Japan. It is kind of like a nursery song, and kids still sing the song there until now, I believe. The full lyrics and the English translation are available on my website, so you can check that out from the link in the description if you want to know the details. Here, I will pick up some parts to share. So basically, there are 3 verses in the song. The first and the second go with similar vibes. The lyrics are like, Teru Teru Bozu, do make tomorrow a sunny day. And if it's sunny, I'll give you a golden bell, which is the end of the first verse. And if it's sunny, we'll give you lots of sweet sake, which is from the end of the second verse. You know, you kind of feel that innocent and hopeful wishes for sunny weather, don't you? But when it comes to the third verse, the atmosphere suddenly changes, like, if it's cloudy, and it's raining as if it's crying, we shall snip your head off. Can you feel this big shift that takes a dark turn? Especially the last line, we shall snip your head off, is quite grim for a children's song, isn't it? One theory suggests that the third verse might symbolize the desperation of farmers and communities who relied heavily on good weather for their crops and livelihoods. For the drastic measures in the song could reflect the seriousness of their pleas. Anyway, there's an unexpected shift from a sweet treat to a violent threat. It's the central mystery of the song. Oshimai. Thank you very much for listening to the story. How'd you find it? As I said in the story, I also made some Teru Teru Bozu dolls myself when I was younger. And of course, I didn't know any of the scary stuff associated with this at the time. Later on, I learned all that mysteries and urban legends related to Teru Teru Bozu, but at the same time, I was kind of sure that Teru Teru Bozu remains a beloved part of Japanese culture, especially among children, for the future as well. It is because it's just a fun event to make the doll, and I remember having a fun time making one myself. It surely is a good memory of my childhood. So, when you happen to have a chance to see Teru Teru Bozu in some house, you might remember the dark story behind it, as I shared in this episode. That is not a problem, or I'd be even glad that I remember my podcast then. But at the same time, I hope you also imagine that there could be an innocent and heartwarming wish from the kids behind it. Anyway, do you have any thoughts on this story? I've got a Discord channel where anybody can join and share thoughts and theories. Of course, I'll be there as well. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, so please join and enjoy the interaction if you would. Also, I've got my own website, japanmakesmescared.com, where you can find a transcription of the story, more detailed information about the episode topic that I couldn't get to in the podcast, and more visual images related to the episode as well. To reach my website, you can simply type Japan Makes Me Scared in your browser or check the link in the description. Just one more thing. This podcast, Japan Makes Me Scared, is available on almost all popular podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or Amazon Music. Also, if you push the follow button on the app of your choice. First of all, for me, it'd be a huge support and motivation, and for you, you will not miss notifications for future episodes. So please consider following my podcast as well. Alright, we're getting close to the end, so let me say one thing. Arigatou gozaimasu again for listening to my podcast, Japan Makes Me Scared, and sayonara for more children fruits next time. Bye!